Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L. Today coming in with a Dr. Stone video. This time specifically, it's a Dr. Stone theory video. Alright, man, I'm pretty excited to go with this. I'm hoping I'm going to get this out before the next chapter of Dr. Stone comes out. The next chapter being like, I don't know what, chapter 118. Anyway, if you are an anime only fan, don't worry. This is a general theory. It won't really affect... There's only like maybe one or two minor spoilers regarding petrification. Probably won't ruin your experience of the anime, especially because by the time that you get to this point in the anime, it'll probably be like years from where we are right now. So before jumping into the theory, I just do want to say, please feel free to share, comment, like, or subscribe. Really, sharing is more important. It's just, that's an easy way for you to help out the channel and, you know, stick it to YouTube and get this video to be popular. Just share it around if you can. Anyway, that's my quick little bit of promotion. Going on to the theory. So I thought about it a little bit because of various things. One, Film Theory put out a video on Dr. Stone. I have my thoughts about it. If anyone wants to know those, let me know down below. But there was that. Then there was the new chapter. There were some comments that people had said on Manga Stream for the chapter. And... well, what else was there? And I guess the contents of chapter 116. Anyway, those three things together kind of got me wondering. And what I'm thinking right now is that, what if the stones are effectively a fountain of youth? And when I say fountain of youth, I really mean like, what if after you get depetrified, you get reverted to a younger age? I think Dr. Stone has done a few things that makes the idea plausible. And there's two variations of this theory that I got so far. The first variation, I think, is pretty aggressive. I doubt that would actually happen in all honesty, just because I don't know how far the author would want to go to actually justify it. But the second variation, I think, is almost certain. So I want to talk about those two variations. So sit back, relax, and let's just jump into it. The first variation is, effectively, if you petrify an old man, when you depetrify him, he will come out younger. That is quite literally the idea right there. He's going to come out like a spring goose. So now we gotta talk about, well, why is this possible? Why could this work? Well, the thing that inspired me were ultimately the contents of chapter 116. In chapter 116, you manga readers will know what happened, but a certain character came out of the stone cocoon with his hand in a particular condition. The thing is, this character originally had the black cracks that everyone who has come out of petrification, he had those cracks on his fingers, but after his petrification and coming out again, he lost those cracks. Something that wasn't there was replaced. Remember, the cracks themselves came out because of non-perfect, well, how would you say this? The statues weren't in the perfect condition. The cracks were just pretty much things that couldn't come back to normal. When this guy had gone through his depetrification, Senku made the note that this is what true depetrification is, effectively establishing a distinction between the two phenomena that we had witnessed in the series. The big point here though is that when you see this is that something that wasn't there was returned. And truth be told, this is also spoilers, but minor spoilers, Dr. Stone, the depetrification, we have seen that it's done incredible things even when it's the weaker, or even when it's the older variation. Senku's neck comes back together. Yuzuriha's foot stops hurting. Later on, some people's illnesses are getting cured. Heck, right now the arc that we are in is all motivated by the potential of Dr. Stone. So ultimately, I am very much looking at this idea of the stone returning something that wasn't initially there. When I think about that possibility, and I look to one of the older characters in the cast, I'm wondering, is it really impossible for this guy to have his age reverted? Now mind you, it is kind of weird to think about it, especially if this guy is shorter than he was when he was younger. It's hard to imagine his physique being returned. Honestly, like, that's a little bit of a mental leap I have to make too. That's why I think this variation of the theory probably isn't going to come true. It still would be interesting. I think there is enough story reason as to why this plot twist is possible. One of the big reasons being is that we have yet to see an old man or an old lady be depetrified. We have yet to see that. The majority of the people who have been depetrified have been young people. That was a very big part of Dr. Stone up to this point, especially with Tsukasa's empire. When I look at that, I look at it as a plot twist was just delayed. And the reason we haven't encountered it is because the author was very smart in delaying it. Another bit of story context that we could use to justify why this possibility, the possibility of old people returning to younger forms, as I saw in the manga stream comments, people were pointing out, and this is spoilers for anime fans, but in regards to the composition of Senku's group, we only have really one good craftsman in Senku's group at this point in the manga. And people are pointing out, what if this guy dies? What are we going to do then? Senku hasn't gone to revive other craftsmen. What are we going to do? But then, if we're talking about the problem being this guy's age, and just the fact that he could croak at any given moment, and we're calling that the problem, then wouldn't that be solved by simply reverting his age? Right there, you'd have a nice, convenient fix for the problem of the craftsman. If you're saying that the problem is, this guy's old, he's on the way out, and we need a new craftsman, you could fix that with the plot twist that the stones revert age. Before we move on to the second variation of the theory, I do want to give you guys other things to think about. One, first off, being, why would it target old people? It hasn't targeted young people. Why haven't young people just been turned back into kids if we're saying that this thing can revert age? Well, I can tell ya. Because, have you ever Google searched at what age the body starts dying? Turns out, if you Google search that, you're gonna find out that most people say that the body starts dying around age 25. Here's the thing. We've seen the idea before. We've seen how it's presented. When someone's getting depetrified, we've seen how the DNA kind of reconfigures. So, when you consider that, and you consider something that happens with aging, that is that your DNA, every time it replicates, is getting shorter and shorter, right? As you age, you're losing information in your DNA, and that kind of contributes to the aging process. And biologists, I am going to butcher your biology a little bit here, but I feel like this could work. DNA gets shorter, it kind of ties into your aging. So, if you have this situation where people officially start dying at 25, we could like play the game of maybe like that's roughly when DNA starts shorting or when it starts like just getting damaged. So when we start playing that game, it makes sense. And if you have the stone, which we now know restores things, then wouldn't it make sense that the DNA or the information in the DNA, which the stone is using to rebuild people when they're being depetrified, if you have DNA being damaged and that being a cause of aging, wouldn't it make sense that being depetrified fixes the DNA, restores it, and then it rebuilds based on the restored DNA? That's kind of like the crux of how I'm going about this. The reason that people have not been reverted to younger ages is because they haven't been past the cutoff point of when the body starts dying. There hasn't been anything that it's needed to restore. I think if we use the combination of the fact that DNA shortens over time, in other words, loses information, and we use the fact that the depetrification process restores things that have been lost, or restores things to a better or to an original state, I think we could easily play the game of yes, these people can be returned to a youthful form. And if we imagine that the petrification itself is like a cocoon, we could play the caterpillar metamorphosis process where like once people are restored, they come out like reconfigured. The only reason that the young people have come out in the form that they used to have is because their DNA wasn't damaged enough for it to have to be repaired. You can't repair something that isn't broken, right? That's the kind of idea. Now that is the most extreme variation because this is physically changing people on a very aggressive level. But again, if we're saying that the stones can restore things that have been lost or restore things to original states, yeah, I think it's fair to say it could nullify the aging process. Now the second variation I think is a lot easier to make it work because I think we could all agree that the second variation is almost guaranteed to happen. We're in a stage where a guy could be revived, a bone could be snapped back into where it was because of the regenerative processes. Someone's incurable disease could be restored through being petrified. We're at that stage. Therefore, if you have an old man, and this old man is petrified, it would only make sense to assume that when he is depetrified, he is going to be the healthiest old man on the face of the planet. By the very simple notion that whatever wear and tear his body has accumulated, like, maybe his tendons have snapped, maybe some of his muscles ache, maybe he has some broken bones from his lifetime. All of those problems, hey, maybe if he has like even a neurological disease, given that we have someone who had a really nasty disease and had that restored or removed from her when she got revived, most likely this old man's going to come out of it he's probably going to still have the form of an old man, but he's going to be super healthy. And most likely he's going to get like a couple of hundred, or not 100, but maybe a couple dozen years back onto his lifespan, right? Because if we're talking about the petrification process restoring people, it only makes sense to assume that the wear and tear accumulated through age is restored as well, or is reverted. And wouldn't that be cool? Like I said, I think this is the most likely variation, because, or you know, this is the bare minimum of the depetrification process applied to an old person. This is the bare minimum of what it could do, I think, most likely, right? Because throughout Dr. Stone, from very early on, we had examples of people having damage repaired. And that's pretty neat, if you ask me. I'm very excited. Right now, the Dr. Stone manga is at a point where we're going to get the answer to this, if not next week, in chapter 119. It's either going to happen in chapter 118 and 119. And man, if we get this, if this is a win, oh, I'm going to feel so good about it. But anyway, guys, let me know what you thought down below. Let me know what you're feeling about this. Do you think this is possible? My final word in terms of what I'm saying definitely. If an old man gets depetrified, he's going to be the healthiest old man you've ever seen. And I think there is a small possibility, very small, I say like a 2 out of 10 chance. It's pretty crazy that he would also come out looking younger. But yeah, guys, let me know what you thought about that down below. Let me know what you think here. Or, you know, let me know what you think of the foundations of this idea. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day.